Do you ever feel like manifestation is just another thing on your to-do list that you don't have time for? Like your spiritual practice is something that you have to do? Honestly, you're not alone because I felt that way too. Something that's really changed my relationship with manifestation is blending it into my lifestyle so that no matter what I'm doing, I'm also manifesting. I call this manifestation as a lifestyle, and it's single handedly made the entire manifestation journey more enjoyable for me. And I've seen my desires show up with a lot more ease. Manifesting as a lifestyle has made manifestation go from feeling like a task to something I just naturally do because it's who I am. If you'd like to learn more about this, I've created a step by step guide for you. I'll link it in my show notes so you can check it out. You're listening to the Affirmation Addict podcast with Pyle Corley. This podcast will teach you about the power of affirmations while making manifestation easy and accessible for you in order to enhance your spiritual consciousness. Thank you so much for being here, and now it's time to get started. If you're looking for a space to navigate life's light and dark moments, I invite you to download my app, Affirm It. It's an app I crafted to help you create your spiritual practice because I know how hard it can be to manage your energy throughout all the different things life throws at us. So we celebrate the light and the dark. We're not asking you to be positive all the time. We're super, super raw, super real, and welcoming to all the feelings. And so inside of the app, I've created a ton of intentional features to help you with your spirituality. We have daily affirmations to help you stay consistent on your journey. We have guides, practices, and journaling to help you with the self-improvement. And we have guided meditations and visualizations to help you deepen your practice and connect to yourself. One of my favorite things that I've created for the app is actually guided affirmations. So it's something you listen to. It helps you effortlessly reprogram your limiting beliefs. So I invite you to download the app today. It's only $4.49 a month, and even less if you do our annual plan. Head to the show notes to download it on your phone today. Hi, everyone. My name is Pyle, and welcome back to the Affirmation Addict podcast. I'm so excited because today I am officially sharing with you our 3-step manifestation process. The reason this episode might be delayed is because I was a little sick and we were dealing with some app launch stuff, which I'm sure you guys have heard about. A little bit of a recap of what's been going on. If you are just catching up, is you guys know I have an app. It's called Affirm It. It's on both iOS and Android. However, I had a calling to basically completely rebuild the app. So new developers, a new platform, a whole new look. And I'm so excited because it finally is live for both platforms. So you can download it, you can play with it, you can go into it today. The thing that happened, and I wasn't even planning on talking about it, but I guess my chatty self wanted to share on the podcast. So here I go. So it was such a big learning journey for me because I know with the way law of attraction works, with everything, that I have a part to play in what I attract. I have a big part to play. So everything that went wrong during this process, I take full ownership for. And I feel like I got to learn so much. So even though in those moments and in those times I would get frustrated or I would feel overwhelmed, I actually feel like I learned so much and it made me just stronger. So for you who were dealing with the shifts and the confusion and the transition, I appreciate you for being so patient with me and with my team. You guys have been so loving and so supportive. But a little bit as to what happened. So when we first were about to launch, before I even told you guys about the changes, we actually were going to just nix and completely delete the original Affirm It. We were just going to take it away. No one needs to use it anymore. And then we talked to our development team and they're like, hey, I'm not sure if we can override it. So then I was frustrated and I was like, wow, I really wanted it to be this way. We had our whole launch plan to be this way. And he was like, okay, I'll figure it out. But then as he was figuring it out, I got a second to think from the universe. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it is perfect because as people transition, because certain features aren't there anymore, certain features are added. So as people migrate and transition, maybe they can actually have the old app if it works well for them. If it's serving them well, why not? Why not let them keep it? So I was like, okay, I think I'm okay with this. And essentially during that time, I made peace with and actually was so excited with, we changed our launch plans. of making peace with having two apps. I just didn't want it to be too confusing. On the other hand, our development team was really working hard to give us only one app and just completely override it, even though we communicated to them saying, hey, actually, we're okay with two apps. Don't touch the old one. We're good. So they were like, okay, we're good. We'll keep a separate app. They launched the second iOS. This is all iPhone problems. They launched the second iPhone app. It was live. We were just waiting for Android. And typically what's so funny is Android only takes a day, but for some reason we had to wait an entire week for Android to be live, which is why it was launched basically today or yesterday, whenever you're listening to this episode. Yeah. Yesterday it was released. So we were essentially, while we were waiting on Android to get approved, iOS was live and ready to go. And somehow everything was great, right? We're just waiting on Android. We have a second app. The original app still works. And then I wake up and I had this inkling. I just had this inkling to go into the back end of the App Store and check. And our original app got overridden. And we have been telling all of you, we've telling all our subscribers, hey, the original app will still be there. Don't worry. It's going to be an easy transition. And my heart just completely dropped because now people were automatically getting kicked out. They were confused because this version of the app had updated. So they were following the instructions through the updated app and it was just complete chaos. So I reached out to my original developer, and I was like, hey, can you restore it? And he still hasn't restored it to this day, which is one of the reasons I was moving. So he's trying, but they just take a lot longer. So essentially, I was left with, and my team was left with, so many loyal customers just not being able to get into the app and completely confused because the directions we provided them just didn't make sense. And my jaw dropped, my heart dropped. I felt helpless because I was completely dependent on all of these tech people who are so amazing, by the way. And it taught me so much about the journey and manifestation. And I can do a deep dive as to what I learned from this big blunder, this big lesson that everyone got to witness. And I guess it was a blessing because so many of you messaged me saying, hey, this is so helpful to see that things also happen in your life. And they always happen in my life. I'll work on being better about sharing. I think I always share after the fact, but this was such a long, drawn out process. You guys have been witnessing through the fact, and you are all directly impacted too. So essentially, now we're just waiting for the original app to be restored. It's in the review process. Other than that, we are good to go. So that is my side rant. So sorry if you're not an app subscriber yet or you're not interested in Affirm-It. I'm sorry. Now, the real stuff, the manifestation process that you have been waiting for, I am going to start explaining it. And it does actually correlate with the new Affirm-It because I actually have it for free in the app for everybody, just a big kind of blog post in the app, completely free. You don't have to subscribe. You just have to create a free account and a free subscription, but you don't have to pay to access this content. So this is relevant, actually. I forgot to mention that. So perfect. Okay. So essentially over the years, I used to have like a 7-step manifestation process and it felt like it wasn't resonating with me anymore. I feel like my spirituality, my definition of manifestation has really shifted over the years and in truly what works. And so I'm so excited because now I have really created a super simple 3-step process that can be customized to you, can be customized to your journey. And I'm going to explain it to you. Okay, so our 3-step process of manifestation, of manifesting something specific, of changing your life, of creating your reality, this is my 3-step process. So number 1 is to get clear on your why. The reason this is so important is because I think we all know so heavily what we want. We're like, I want my soulmate. I want more money. I want a better job. I want a new car. I want to feel peace. Whatever you want, we all kind of know, right? We all have that list of desires in the back of our head that we're ready to manifest. But I think what a lot of us don't fully understand is why do we want it? What makes this desire so important? What makes this desire so special to our heart? And once you can understand the why and keep asking yourself why until you get to a certain feeling, because ultimately we are chasing feelings. We are craving feelings. And the gratifying part part about that is, as humans, we have this awesome ability to be able to create our feelings, to be able to choose our feelings. The biggest thing is we have to play that mind game of getting to a place of feeling that feeling in the now. The way we do that is step 2 of the process, which is an overarching focus on your vibration. Because the whole point of manifestation is like attracts like. The whole point is things have energy. We all have vibrations. And if you can get to that same vibrational state of your manifestation, it is irresistible to you. It literally by law has to show up. So focusing on your vibe is step number 2. And the way you do that is my favorite part because it's really custom to you. It can look different for every manifestation. It's different for every single person. And I will give you guys some examples of how to really put this into practice. So just stick with me. I know it's kind of vague right now. But focusing on your vibe, the real intention is to just focus on how you feel. Focus on your vibration in your daily life. And it can be focused towards only the specific manifestation, or it can be just in your day-to-day life. You want to feel a little bit better. Both work beautifully. The way you focus on your vibe is what I like to call our spiritual tools. This is where the affirmations are. This is where the guided meditations come in, or this is where self-guided meditation or self-guided space or journaling or visualizing or releasing limiting beliefs or surrendering, all of these buzzwords and tools that we don't know what to do with. All of that, in my opinion, is what step 2 is all about. And you pick and choose. You have to pick day by day what you need. And that's what I like to call a spiritual practice, is how you manifest day to day is by committing to a spiritual practice that is allowed to look different based on what you're feeling that day and what you're working towards. You don't have to do the same spiritual practice every day. And all a spiritual practice is a combination of at least one of these tools. That's it. So I have a whole list of all the tools for you inside of Affirm-It, and I have all the tools for you inside of the app. So I guess me talking about the app was super relevant. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm glad it worked out. So all of these spiritual tools can be part of your spiritual practice. And my philosophy is if you commit to a spiritual practice every single day, whether it's 30 seconds or whether it's an hour, I really believe that your vibration must raise and you will be in a state to receive your manifestation. It's as simple as that. It's not like you have to write 12 affirmations at 12:12 p.m. today. That doesn't necessarily mean anything. What really matters is how you're feeling and focusing on how you're feeling. One day you might feel so high vibe and you might want to write a script. The other day you might be feeling low and you just want to listen to a guided meditation to feel a little less sad. So both are perfect and both are perfectly acceptable. So in short, step number 2 is focusing on your vibration through a spiritual practice. And that's where you get to play. That's where the real work is, and having fun with that work and allowing that work and that playtime and your practice to be part of your lifestyle. That's why I always like to say manifestation is a lifestyle, because I think so many people think it's like, okay, I get my result and it's done. But you'll soon realize it's so addicting in a way, because you start to learn how good you can feel. You start to learn how powerful of a creator you are. And you're like, wow, I want to keep doing this. And you get more and more excited and there's more and more desires. And that's not a bad thing. Some of those desires will become more intangible. Like you'll want to maybe have an experience where you feel total full body bliss. You're right. Like it might be less tangible than a dream home or a dream house or a soulmate. It might start to get more spiritual, more airy, more abstract, more energetic, and that's absolutely fine. That's kind of where I'm at on my journey, is a lot of my manifestations that I'm calling in are very abstract. Like I just have very specific scenarios that my soul is craving to experience just because I believe I'm worthy of it. And it's like a one-time thing and that's it. So that's perfectly okay. And step 3 in our manifestation process is allowing yourself to receive. And this is not something you do. This is not like a task list. This really, and I explain it inside of Affirm-It, it's a state of being. It's after you continuously do your spiritual practice, you're getting to a point of you feel good with or without your manifestation. You know you're worthy of it. You're not doubting it. You're over that point. And that moment, literally the moment you step into step 3, your manifestation shows up. So I don't think you'll be able to send me a DM saying, Pyle, I'm in step 3. My manifestation isn't here yet. Because if you are telling me you're in step 3, that means your manifestation has actually arrived because you're in such alignment. If you feel like you should be in step 3 by now, you need to do some more work on step 2, right? So I hope that makes sense. I'll give you a quick recap. So step 1 is getting clear on your why, understanding your why, understanding those feelings and vibrations you're really going after. Step number 2 is focusing on your vibration through a spiritual practice. And step number 3 is allowing yourself to receive, which is a state of being that the moment you step into, your manifestation arrives. So really, it's technically a 2-step process, with the 3rd step being in the receiving mode. So that is my 3-step process. I've been teaching this to my clients, to some of my one-on-one clients, and it's been really starting to make sense. And so I wanted to share it forward. You're welcome to ask me questions in my DMs about this process if it's not making sense to you. But what I've done is I've started to create spiritual practices inside of Affirm It for different things you're manifesting. That still says coming soon. I think I'm unlocking them on Monday. So in 1 week, they will be unlocked as you start to explore. And the other thing is another way you can get started is I have like a free quiz, discover your manifestation archetype. And I have spiritual practices based on those archetypes, based on your state of being currently. And each archetype has kind of like typical goals that they're trying to manifest. So one of them is specifically more soulmate and self-love. One of them is like dream job. One of them is like purpose and clarity. And the other one is like higher self. And so I have different archetypes created that I've seen from my audience. So you are the one who's inspired those archetypes. And we're always updating them to make sure they're still up to date with our community. And so take that free quiz, and inside of Affirm It, once again, this is part of the subscription where I have laid out for you per each archetype what spiritual practices and what spiritual tools I recommend for you based on where you're at in your journey. So that might be a really helpful place to start. If not, I'm going to share you guys some examples also of what different spiritual practices look like. I'm not going to refer to Affirm It content just because in case you're not a subscriber just yet. However, all of these are available for you inside of the app. So say you're trying, I'm going to do money and soulmate because I think those are the top 2 I always hear about. So say you're trying to manifest more money. Say today you feel so good. You're like, wow, I'm an abundant container. I am ready. And you want to just enhance this energy. Maybe your spiritual practice starts with a few deep breaths, a little bit of appreciation for how much abundance you have around you, just to further carry that vibration you have going. And then maybe because you're feeling so good, you're journaling and writing your affirmations down about how willing you are to receive. Then maybe you do a little visualization on different opportunities that money can show up into your life, and you close out with a little bit of scripting, or you close out by just going on a meditative walk. That can be a spiritual practice. So that could be one day, and the next day your spiritual practice, maybe you don't want to do anything. All you do is you listen to guided affirmations, and you allow those guided affirmations to be your support system. So I hope it's making sense that your spiritual practice can be super in-depth and it can be super short one day. And another practice you can do if you're manifesting money is you can just do something to feel better. You can just make tea and infuse affirmations into that tea and drink it, and that can be your practice for the day. So there's so many different practices you can do for the same manifestation. You don't always have to focus your attention on the manifestation. Ultimately, your spiritual practice is going to be your grounding force, and doing it a little bit every day is really what's going to help you. The other one, soulmate, right? So let's say you really want to manifest your soulmate and you're feeling a little low. So maybe you're starting to do affirmations for self-worth, and you go through some journaling questions to rewire limiting beliefs, and you listen to a meditation to open your heart for the energy of love. That's kind of one to lift you up. On the other hand, maybe the next day you're like, oh, I feel good. I know I'm worthy of my soulmate. maybe you write a script that day and you read it, and that's your only practice for the day. And then the next day, you might just be like, I don't want to focus on my soulmate. So I am just going to focus on feeling good and just write down things I'm grateful for today. And that's your practice. Maybe you don't even write it down. Maybe you just say it in your mind, and that is enough. The more and more you can just take little moments to pause, the more and more you can take little moments and have a spiritual practice. It can be multiple times throughout your day. That is beautiful. That counts, and that's enough. So I hope that is a helpful kind of examples on how you can start to build your spiritual practice and build it into your life day to day. Focusing on your vibration is ever changing. It does not have to look the same every single day. So I hope this helps you understand how different your spiritual practice is allowed to look, and you're allowed to have fun with it. Like, your spiritual practice should be fun. It might be none of these things. It might be painting. It might be just reading a book. All of those things count, and you're allowed to enjoy those things and use it as fuel towards your manifestation. It doesn't have to be traditional. It can be non-traditional. Your intention and the energy you're putting into it is the energy you're going to get out of it. So I hope that is so helpful for you to understand the process, understand our new process, and some examples of how you can get started. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have questions on the process or questions on spiritual practices, this is going to be something that I start to talk a lot about because I really believe in the power of it. And I'm so excited to just unlock this new layer and this new version of how I teach. And I'm so grateful for your constant support, and for your constant support with Affirm It and all the changes we're making, all the upgrades and shifts. You guys are the best. I'm so grateful from the bottom of my heart. I love you, and have such a good day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
I always get a ton of questions in my DMs from people asking how I can manifest X. The truth is, you can really manifest anything as long as it's for the greatest good. And if you're having trouble manifesting something right now, or you feel stuck on your journey, I have a really beautiful resource I've made for you. It's a free quiz. It's called the Manifestation Archetype Quiz. And it's something that I've created so you can find out your manifestation style to give you more clarity on your spiritual journey. After taking the quiz, you're going to receive the best resources for your specific archetype to help you attract your desires based on where you're at and what you want to create. So you can find a link to the quiz in the show notes, or just head to my website at www.affirmation-addict.com. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean the world to me if you can rate and review the podcast and share it on your social media, so I know to keep creating episodes that are inspiring you to manifest. I'm so genuinely grateful for the time we shared today, and I'd love for you to join the community by following @AffirmationAddict on Instagram. To continue diving into spirituality and manifestation, head over to my website, affirmation-addict.com. Until next time, I'm sending you so much love and so much healing energy.